Good evening, people. Welcome to the show. It's the Gooner Tokes, as usual, with me, Tokes. And today, it's going to be a match preview for the big game. Champions League is back, baby. It has been a long time since we played a game. December 10th was our last game against Club Bruges. We won that 3-0 away from home, leaving us top of the Champions League table on 18 points, and that's a great place to be kicking things off again. It feels like it's been ages since we watched the Champions League game, so I, for one, am excited for this one. The next game, of course, tomorrow night is against Inter Milan. It is not going to be no walk in the park. This is a serious football side. They are top of Serie A by 3 points ahead of Milan. So both Milan teams are doing well. That's going to be an interesting title race between them two this season. But Inter are top by 3 points on Milan. They are sixth in the Champions League, 6 points behind us. So they're a good side. Challenging well in the Champions League, obviously doing the same in Serie A. But that don't matter. We got to go there with the mindset to win. They don't score a lot of goals, usually 1 or 2 goals, in a game, but they do not concede a lot of goals. You thought 1-0 to the Arsenal was our song? These lot, they love it as well. They are doing really well this season, and it's going to be a challenge, They've won 4 of their last 5 games, including away at Udinese. There was a draw at Napoli in there with McTominay getting 2 goals for them, so they've been in pretty good form recently, to be honest. It's going to be difficult to get a win there for sure. But we'll get into what I think the starting 11 and the prediction and all that kind of stuff is going to be. Of course, Inter Milan have this guy, Lautaro Martinez. Now, he is a clinical forward. He is quick, he's strong, he has good movement, he's clever. So he's going to be someone we need to keep an eye on. He's definitely like their danger man. They've got, good players all over the pitch. They've even got Mkhitaryan, don't forget. He's playing there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how we manage that game and deal with the pressure of playing away at the San Siro against Inter Milan. Do you all remember that? That was the Inter Milan. That was Thierry Henry, 5-1 in the Inter Milan. That's what I want to see again. I remember watching that game. I was at university when that game was on. 5-1 at the San Siro was incredible. They did beat us 3-0 in the home leg, actually. But, 5-1 at the San Siro ain't nothing to be sniffed at. I'll take half of that. 2-1, 2.5, 2 versus 0.5. Either way, I just want to win. That's what it's all about. I got good memories of Arsenal playing Inter Milan at the San Siro. I would love to build on them, right? So, speaking of Arsenal, what do I think the team's going to be like? Let's have a look at that. We're top of the Champions League. We got to be going into this game with supreme confidence, really. Okay, we drew our last game and maybe we're not firing as well as we should be, but swings and roundabouts, it's all going to come back, and once we get our forwards clicking and firing, there's going to be no stopping us. We have been, performing really well in Europe, beating big teams. Bayern Munich got dealt with, do you know what I mean? And of course, all that happened last year with Real Madrid. So I got confidence in us playing in Europe, playing away in Europe. Nobody wants to play us. We're a top side, but Inter Milan are top of Serie A, so it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. They are a well-organized, serious team. But back to Arsenal. Let's talk about it, because we need to make some changes. We need to get that forward line, creating, scoring. We need to get it more free-flowing. So I'm going to start my match preview from the front to the back. Up front, Jesus. This is the type of game where, look, Inter Milan defend really well. They're going to keep the spaces tight. And so we're going to need a quicker, more mobile, cleverer, more technical centre forward, if you ask me. I think Jesus is the guy that should play. He's going to have a bit more joy, a bit more freedom, and be able to, bamboozle the defenders a little bit more. Gyökeres is kind of straight, Jesus is all over the place and a lot harder to stop, to be honest, for defenders. So I think maybe it's a good game to bring him in to get a bit of, like I said, movement up front. Saka's got to come back in. Apparently he had a niggle, that's why he didn't start. Madueke, I've said it, the guy looks good, but there's just no end product. He needs to fix that side of his game. And Martinelli as well. He missed, looking back on the Forest game, he missed a gilt-edged chance. It was quite an open goal, to be honest. But Martinelli does really well in Europe. I think this is a game where he'll have a lot of joy trying to get in behind the Inter defense. So I think that's what we got to go for up front. We got to keep it mobile. We got to keep it clever. We've got to get them interchanging with one another. Jesus drifting out, trying to find those pockets of space. I don't think that's going to be a game for Gyökeres tomorrow. So let's play Jesus. Hey, if Kai Havertz can come in, he's a more mobile kind of centre forward, but he's not really had the minutes. They're managing him. They're trying to get him back into the squad. So I don't expect to be seeing Kai Havertz starting the game. On the bench, coming off the bench, sure, I'd love that, but I just don't see him starting. So that's who I'd go for up front. In terms of midfield, we got to go with the same midfield against Forest. That's why I kind of made so many changes against Forest in my preview, because I knew we had this game and we got United as well. So I thought if you were going to be changing the midfield, surely that happens at Forest rather than at Inter Milan, because I don't see Eze starting this game. Do you know what I mean? Nor Marino, nor Norgard, really. The only one maybe out of them that might come in is Merino. But again, I would expect Arteta to go strong with the midfield with Ødegaard, Rice and Zubimendi. So hopefully they're not getting overplayed, because we're going to need them on Sunday for United. At least we're playing United on Sunday. So this game's on Tuesday. So there's a good bit of rest. So maybe that's kind of informed Arteta's decision with the team he put out against Forest. At the end of the day, it didn't work, whatever happened. We brought these guys on against Forest and that didn't work. So hopefully starting from the front, they can, attack this game really well, try to control midfield and take us to victory from there. Although I think it's going to be quite a close game, if you ask me. And then in defence, that's where I think we're going to have to just continue as we have been. I don't think Arteta trusts Lewis Skelly this season. He's been a bit off the pace, and this is such a big game away into Milan. I'd be very surprised if Arteta decides to start Lewis Skelly in this game. So for me, I think Timber's going to continue at left back. I would love if Nkapie was back, but we've seen none of him. Mosquera was on the bench in the last game, so he's going to be there in the squad. But I think we're going to have to go strong in defence as well. So that's Big Gabby, Saliba, Jurriën Timber playing left back and Ben White playing right back. It didn't have as much joy as I was hoping it would have against Forest. I thought maybe Ben White would be able to link up a little bit better with Gyökeres, but he didn't. So now I think we're going to have to, like I said, play some more mobile forwards, and hopefully Ben White can link up well with Saka, and we can get some crosses in early on and play some nice intricate balls with Ødegaard and stuff like that. So for me, that's who I would start. That's who I think Arteta's going to start. The only thing maybe, he might stick with Gyökeres up front, but Gyökeres was kind of poor in the last game against Forest. You thought maybe after him having a good game against Chelsea, he'd be able to kick on a little bit and have a good performance away at Forest, but, that just wasn't the case. Murillo really had his number in that game, and I think maybe it's time to try a different kind of centre forward, especially in Europe, where, like I said, we're going to need a little bit more nous to get around Inter Milan. They defend well. They're no mugs, So, like I said, I think it's going to be a tight game, this one, to be honest. In terms of, before I get into my prediction, how could I forget? Raya, of course, goalkeeper. He's not going to be disposed by Kepa, that's for sure. Kepa, like I said, made a couple of mistakes in the Chelsea game. I'd be surprised if he starts that second semi-final. But anyway, Raya, of course, he's our goalkeeper. He's going to play solid as you like. Kept how many clean sheets so far? I think he's top of the Golden Glove chart. So, fair play. Zero problems with David Raya, right? And so, anyway, like I was going to say, there's going to be a tight game. Inter, they don't concede a lot. They don't score a lot. They keep it really tight. They're quite happy to get a little 1-0 win, just like we are. So it's going to be a bit of a cagey affair, this one, a little bit of a war of attrition. I fancy it to be a tight game. There's not going to be a lot of goals in it. Both teams are capable of and love defending, so expect things to be pretty tight at the back from both teams, and that's why I think the game is probably going to be decided by just the one goal. So I would say for us to win that game, come on, we can do it. 1-0 away from home at the San Siro. I think that's a real possible scoreline. I think we can keep them out. I think we can keep Martinez quiet, and I think if we don't score, I think we can get out of there with a clean sheet as well. So 0-0 maybe. But I'm going to go for a win. I'm going to go for Arsenal to get one goal 1-0, keep it tight at the back and get out of there and say thank you very much. We're qualified, top of the Champions League basically, because if we win that game tomorrow, I think we qualify top basically. And that puts us in a great position for the later stages. So hopefully that happens. But like I said, it's not gonna be one of these. It's not gonna be a 5-1 in the San Siro, unfortunately. I think it's gonna be 1-0, like I said, if anything. You know, what do you guys think? Do you think we'll be able to keep a clean sheet out there? Do you think they'll really trouble us that much? Let me know what you think the score is going to be. Let me know your predictions. Also, let me know if you agree with me in terms of my team selection. Is Jesus the best choice for this game? Like I said, I think he's going to be a better choice than Gyökeres. Much more mobile, cleverer player, trickier player, harder to defend in that aspect. So put him in. Let him stretch those legs. He loves the European stage. He likes linking up well with Martinelli. So get the Brazilians on the pitch. Let them play. Samba, samba. That's what we want. Come on, guys. Big game. Can't wait for it. Champions League is back. We're going to qualify definitely for the next stage in the top 8, I would say. So this is all about finishing as high as possible, getting the job done so that we can rest players for that last game and keep our players fresh for the rest of the season. That's what it's all about, isn't it, people? Hey, I will see you tomorrow. Do a little video in the morning or something prepping for the game, but I'll do my reaction. But yes, Champions League is back, people. I will see you next time. Have a great evening. Peace. Bye.